53 were Asian names, 50 of the 53 were Muslim names, the vast majority were British Pakistani. This was a process being repeated. It was happening in Birmingham, it was happening in Bradford, it was happening in Manchester, it was happening in Burnley. How had this pattern developed? How had it developed, apparently completely unseen by the authorities? How come every single aspect of the British establishment treated every single case that had cropped up as an isolated one-off case with no pattern whatsoever to any of the other cases that were so similar?
Documentary would be called The Rape of Britain, and I want to make sure everyone in this country hears. Do you know what they're doing? They're putting conditions on all these court cases, so none of you hear what happens, the real detail of the vicious and sadistic things that's happening to these children. None of you hear.
Everything that we're being told, everything that we think we know, is not the truth.
When they're allowed to report it, one day's news. One day's news.
The things that I was hearing were incredible. That men could do this to young girls.
And that we're going to let the world know the details. We're going to find the people who let it happen.
For too long in this country, we, media, the establishment, society, the chattering classes, the liberal elite, whatever term you want to use, have ignored the issue of grooming gangs, of young, vulnerable teenage girls who have been victimized, drugged and raped and abused.
I believe that Telford is the beginning of the most explosive documentary that I think we'll ever see. When it comes to kids, it doesn't get much deeper.
I watched the life, the soul, drain out of that 17-year-old girl. What I mean by that is no one else in the room was looking at her apart from me. And I could see in her eyes went red. Tears started going down her face. Her mouth started jittering, where you could tell that this girl was thinking about what these men had done to her. They took her to a derelict house in the middle of nowhere, with no lights, no windows. The only thing that was in that house was a mattress on the floor. They kept her in there for hours.
The biggest rape scandal in our country's history.